Probably not, because it's been a really long time. I'm talking like months and months and months, and I don't really have an excuse. I just haven't been myself lately. So there's a lot of changes going on in my life, like in my house where I live and everything. It's been a little bit stressful to deal with. Um, Basically, what happened was, like, I am living with my parents, which I know it's like really embarrassing to be my age and living at home, but I've been in one relationship after another since I was 18, and none of them worked out, and now I just have decided that I have to try being single and not being with anybody, and I really didn't have anywhere else to go, so thankfully my parents have two houses, and they're only here in New Jersey for 6 months, and in the other 6 months they're in Florida. So they need somebody to take care of the house anyway, and I've been doing that for them for the last like 2 years. And now, over in the winter, in March, my little sister, who is just like 5 years younger than me, so she's like, what, 42, I think. She got married a couple of years ago, was living in California, and her husband was like a tattoo artist, and they have a son, and he is amazing and adorable and autistic, so it's a little bit of a challenge. Like, he's not your average kid. Like, he's so smart and so amazing, but you have to learn how to communicate with him because it's not the same as like you and me. Like, he tells you things, but he does it in a way that, like, you have to kind of learn him. You know what I mean? So I've been trying to do that. Because she has moved home. She left her husband, and same situation as me. So now we're both here, and we have plenty of room. And it's been really kind of nice to have my sister around. We were estranged for a lot of years because I had a couple of years of my life where I was just, no good. I was let's just say I've made a lot of changes. But, my sister and I didn't talk for a lot of years, and I missed her. And now she's here, and I just love her so much. And, she's got two amazing little cats that me and my cats, I love. My Willow's right here next to me. I love cats. Speaking of Willow, she is naked right now. I have a Halloween collar for her, and it's really, really adorable, but, like, she was wearing it, and somehow, some fur got caught in the clasp, and it made this huge, knot, like a mat. You know how some animals with long fur get matted fur? It was like that. I was calling it a dreadlock. I actually have it here so you can see. See this? This was on her neck and caught in the collar clasp. So I pulled, it came off when I took the collar off. And she seemed just, so relieved that I didn't want to put it back on her just yet. So I'm letting her be naked for a couple of days. And it's actually really funny because I keep calling her naked cat. And she's right here next to me. She's looking at me like, what are you doing? Why are you talking about me? Okay, so let me explain what made me want to come back to YouTube. I have been, of course, following true crime because that's what I do. Here's Willow now. In the last couple years, the Long Island serial killer case has completely blown up. They actually caught the guy that they think is responsible for. I think now he's charged with 6 of the murders. They've got fucking 13 bodies though. So it's did he do it all? Or is there another serial killer? Is it just a dumping ground? What's the deal? So I'm interested in that case, and I'm going to do a full Long Island serial killer video, but this is not that. This video, I just want to talk about one person in particular that has to do with that whole case, and that is Shannan Gilbert. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar. There's a lot of, stuff out there about her, because she was a very high-end escort, sex worker, and let's see. Let me start at the beginning. Shannan was, born in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, October 24th, 1986. She was there. Her family moved to upstate New York, and eventually Shannan moved to Jersey City, New Jersey, which is I have a friend that lives there. I go there all the time. It's right by New York City. That town has the most amazing views. I swear to God, it's right across the river and Lake Manhattan. It's just gorgeous. But anyway, she was working there as for this escort service and living in Jersey City. And she had a client on May 1st of 2010 on Long Island in a place called Oak Beach Association. It was like a gated community, like really rich people, doctors, lawyers, all that. And so she had this client by the name of Joseph Brewer, and as a high-end sex worker, she had a professional driver that took her there in a like real fancy like SUV and would wait for her, and like if there was any trouble, he was there to like help her. And his name was Michael Pack. Now, Shannan, for some reason, while she was at Mr. Brewer's house, she got there. They left New York City at midnight. I'm guessing it's like a 35-minute drive out to Oak Beach, and they were there until 5 a.m. And at 5 a.m., Shannan made a frantic call to 911. She was saying things like, there's somebody after me, they're gonna kill me, and then you could hear her talking to Brewer and Peck, and you could hear them talking back, like, are you okay? Calm down, come with me. Brewer was trying to get her out of the house because she was literally, like, freaking out, and Peck didn't know what to do with her, and she took off running. She was running on the street of Oak Beach Association at 5 o'clock in the morning, and she started knocking and pounding on doors. Help me, help me, help me, they're trying to kill me, there's somebody after me. So two of the residents there in Oak Beach actually called 911 for her. One of the guys let her in the house. He said she looked like she was 14 years old and terrified. Shannan was 23. But he made a 911 call, and so did this other lady. I don't know her name. But, like, the lady didn't let her in because she was afraid, Like, a lady by herself, just a strange woman in. But, I want you to listen to this 911 call, and I'm gonna play that for you guys right now. Well, it's portions of it, and it's not the whole thing. The whole thing is, like, it's 23 minutes, and I'm gonna put a link in the comments for you if you want to hear the whole thing. But here's a little news report with some clips.
Please stop the noise. In the 23-minute 911 phone call released by police from 2010, we hear Shannan Gilbert go from scared for her life to confused.
Why are you calling me by my name?
What's the matter? Are you okay?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me?
Let's go back to Manhattan.
Police say that's the voice of Michael Pack, Gilbert's bodyguard. Police say Pack drove Gilbert to the home of Joseph Brewer in Ocean Beach. Brewer had hired Gilbert, who was a sex worker.
At some point during the meeting with Brewer, Shannan reportedly began acting irrational.
Please, can you shut the door?
No, time to go.
Please, something's going to happen to me.
There's nobody outside. You're okay, right?
After that, Gilbert runs out of the house. She starts knocking on people's doors. Those people call 911 too.
43 the Bayou. Some woman is knocking at my door. She says she's in danger.
The last thing we hear on the call is Gilbert running again. Police say they believe Gilbert ran into this marsh in Gilgo, which would have looked like this at the time that night. They believe that's where Gilbert died.
Right now, we believe it's a tragic accident.
Police do not believe Gilbert's death is related to the murders of other sex workers whose remains were later found in Gilgo. For the first time, they're explaining why.
In this case, she's found on the south side of the parkway. In all the other cases, they're found on the north side of the parkway. In this case, our victim called 911. None of the other cases resulted in 911 calls. She's found with her identification with her. She's found with money with her, with cash with her. There's no effort to conceal her body.
So I think the real news today is that for the first time after all of these years, we have police acknowledging that they do not believe that Shannan Gilbert's death is related to the other murders of sex workers found in this area of Gilgo Beach, and that is very big news. Police say that Brewer and Pack, if you were curious about them, they say that they fully cooperated with this investigation and they're not considered suspects in anything at this time.
Pretty wild, huh? So, Shannan's family immediately started to look for her, and it was, because of that, like, her mother's name was Mary, and she had 3 sisters, Sherry, Stevie, and Sarah, Apparently Dale had names beginning with S, which was totally cute. Willow just like wants to play with me. She keeps pawing me. I hope you guys saw her little. Now she's laying next to me. So anyway, they, of course, reported Shannan missing. She also had a boyfriend who at one point they had a fight and he punched her in the face so hard that she ended up having to get a plate in her jaw, which I know that's horrible, right? That's like really, really horrible. I can't believe that she stayed with him after that, but you know how it is with domestic violence situations, that happens. So Shannan had this plate in her jaw, so they were searching for her, and you know, searching, and they end up finding 4 bodies, but none of them were Shannan. Like, what? It was like, what the hell, you know? And this was in December of 2010. They found these 4 bodies. They were Megan Waterman from Maine, Amber Costello from Long Island, Melissa Bartholomew from the Bronx, I believe, and Maureen Brainerd Barnes, who is, I think, originally from Connecticut. I'm not 100% sure on that, but those 4 women were now referred to as the Gilgo 4, because all 4 of them were found, you know, naked and wrapped in burlap, which, you know, like hunters use to like transport their, you know, trophies. What are you doing? She wants me to pet her, so she's biting me. So anyway, yeah, they wanted, you know, like immediately, like, what is going on here? And they didn't find Shannan, so they kept on looking and looking. Yeah, so anyway, they kept searching for Shannan, and December of 2011, which was 19 months after she disappeared, so like a year and a half plus 1 more month it took for them to find her. And when they found her, you know, they immediately knew it was her because of the plate. Like, they knew that those 4 girls weren't her because none of them had a plate. So, you know, that immediately they were able to tell the family, like, we found these bodies, but it's not Shannan. We're still looking for her. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, so she was found, naked, naked, I believe, from the waist down, and laying in the marsh there, and she was face up, which was strange. And then they found her belongings, like, pretty far away, so the cops called it an accident. They think she drowned, and the sister doesn't believe it. So, check out this video.
McLogan recently released 911 calls prove Shannan's death was no accident.
Her family's reacting to the release of the chaotic 911 calls from Shannan Gilbert the night she went missing in Oak Beach more than 11 years ago.
It doesn't matter if people think that she's a victim of the Long Island serial killer or not. Something happened to her that night. She ran for her life. She was in fear.
Shannan's sister Cherie believes Suffolk police botched the case, that her death was not accidental, and disputes accounts of her mental health.
This reported illness and substance abuse at times manifested itself in episodes of confusion, getting lost, violent outbursts, and irrational behavior.
Gilbert is heard running away from her Craigslist client and her limo driver, seeming confused and disoriented while repeating her life was in danger.
There's somebody out there. Where are you, ma'am? I don't know.
Don't keep sorry. What are you doing?
She said she's in danger.
You know her or no?
No, I don't. I'm not letting her in.
The family says if not for Shannan's cries for help, the bodies of Gilgo Beach victims would never have been found, launching one of the nation's most notorious serial killer cases. The Gilberts hired a private pathologist. That autopsy revealed Shannan died of asphyxiation, strangulation, consistent, says Shannan's sister, with the 4 girls who died here at Gilgo. The Gilbert family attorney wants current homicide detectives off Shannan's case and an independent investigation by the state attorney general.
We want fresh eyes to look at the entire investigation that took place. Something's really wrong with the way the police handled this.
Somebody found her and took her, potentially gave her something to maybe calm her down, and she accidentally died. And then they took her body, this is my theory, through the roadside.
Shannan's death was ruled accidental, but 10 unsolved homicide cases remain up and down Ocean Parkway going back decades. I'm Jennifer McLogan, CBS 2 News.
And Suffolk police are offering a $50,000 reward for information that leads them to the Gilgo Beach killer or killers.
It's crazy, right? Alright, so this next video I'm going to show you guys is what made me want to make this video, because I have been baffled as to what happened to Shannan ever since she disappeared. Well, ever since, you know, this whole thing started, because the cops are saying, like, we found her, but it's not part of the serial killer thing. So, I found this video yesterday, and this, it was an interview with this lawyer who's working for the families and his assistant, and they were, like, being interviewed by some guy. Basically what they were saying was Shannan was under indictment with her, like, pimp, this guy, Ruiz. You'll see in this video, they'll explain it for you. And I think it's possible that Shannan was so freaked out because the driver maybe was told to get rid of her by, you know, so she couldn't testify against him. I don't know if that's true or not, but it just seems like a really good theory because I don't have any others. So here, check this out. This video is wild.
Bombshell news in the Gilgo case regarding Shannan Gilbert. Let's watch and discuss.
Sex workers don't go to trysts without arranging a payment in advance, and they usually don't take the deal unless they're paid in advance. And typically sex workers, the deal is when you make a one-on-one arrangement, the deal is when the guy is finished, so to speak, the tryst ends. So if that happens in 15 minutes, that's the cost of doing business. If you get up to an hour for that. It's rare, therefore, that time is extended. This time was allegedly extended for 2 more hours, and no money was exchanged, if you believe Pratt and Brewer. They're not believable. I could never understand that story. It never made much sense. And now with the investigation that we've done with the help of Lena here, who's really a great, fantastic investigator and computer expert, in technology and investigation, we were able to break through the story, and the story that the police department never followed up whatsoever. And that's this. We found out that Shannan Gilbert worked in New Jersey for a ring that was one of the biggest rings in the United States, one of the rings that crossed state boundaries, no problem, and ran very high-end sex workers. They weren't $300 a night, and you didn't have to drive all the way out to Oak Beach for the lousy $300. And if you knew Michael Pack, I might say, as I know him well, and had lunch with him, and then observed his behavior and how he worried about every penny. Michael Pack is not one to have driven all the way with his SUV out to Oak Beach, 50 miles away, and come back and paid the gas for that without getting more than $50, which is what he claimed he would have gotten. That's all a lie, complete lie. What was true is that Shannan was a very high-end sex worker. And when we found out that the man in charge of her sex work was a man named Joseph Ruiz, and Ruiz becomes a national figure because when he gets busted in New Jersey for running a sex ring as well as a coke ring, and goes to jail for that, one of the indicted people along with him was one of his highest end workers, and that was Shannan Gilbert. So she gets busted, and when she disappears on May the 1st, 2010, when she disappears, Ruiz is still under indictment, and we believe that Shannan was as well. So here she is, a girl who made, according to the records that we have, the actual records, she would have made anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 per session. Would she go at midnight on May 1st and drive all the way out to Suffolk County for a lousy $300? No, that's a lie. The whole story is made up. But what is much more obvious is what's in the records. If that's the kind of numbers that she was making, and she was working for an agency, as was Pack, who was a human trafficker, who went to jail in a felony case in California for human trafficking, where he worked for an agency, as they're called. There's the sex trafficking organizations. They both worked for this agency, and it was run by Ruiz. And you start to put the pieces together, you know that she went to Oak Beach with Pack to do something she never did before, and she'll never do again, as she herself said, for a lot of money. What could that be? Well, it also so happens, and it's a fact that should be considered. I don't say it's necessarily related, but it's certainly a big consideration, was that it was Walpurgis night. That's the night of the witches, recognized by the witchcraft people as their night. It was that night after midnight, and she gets the call allegedly at midnight, and goes out to Suffolk County for what purpose? In the marsh, in Oak Beach. Something else was going on there, something much more heinous than just a single hit tryst with Brewer, which made no sense.
Are you surmising that there was some type of occult ceremony?
There's a potentiality of a cult ceremony that was going on, and that she was a part of it. Potential. It needs to be investigated, because there's other circumstances that support the theory as well, and we really need to look into it. But before we even get to that point and look into it, as we have here, and Lena can talk about it, before we look into that, let's look back into Ruiz. And he was connected with another fellow. They were running the ring out of a house in New Jersey, in Jersey City.
So Ruiz, back in 2009, he has a network called World Class Party Girls and something called Triple A Party Girls. Shannan is actually arrested back in 2007, and she's attributed as working for Lace Party Girls. So all the way back in 2007, she's working for this very high-end network. If you go onto the Wayback Machine, you can still see the Lace Party Girls and World Class Party Girls websites that Ruiz set up. They're registered to him. If you do like a reverse who is lookup, it's actually Ruiz who set up these websites through GoDaddy. So if you go to these websites, average rate for an hour is around $3,500. So when Ruiz ends up going down in 2009, the search warrant is served at an address in Jersey City, 173 Sherman Avenue. 173 Sherman Avenue was owned by a guy named Paul Benson, a really wealthy landowner in the area. He owned a lot of buildings, businesses. He was a contractor. Paul Benson, I think only about 6 months after Ruiz and Shannan are co-indicted on human trafficking, I believe it was promoting prostitution, money laundering, cocaine trafficking. 6 months after they are indicted together on these charges, Paul Benson, the owner of the building that Shannan's escort ring was run out of, goes down for transmitting and having child pornography. And this is where it gets really bizarre. The law enforcement agency that led the investigation was Suffolk County Police Department. And
Let me just stop you there.
Dominic Verone.
In New Jersey.
In New Jersey, what is the Suffolk County Police Department doing in an investigation of a sex ring dealing with porn in New Jersey, in Jersey City in particular, and dealing with Joseph Ruiz in particular? And the head of the Suffolk County Police Force Task Force, or whatever it was called, in that investigation was Dominic Verone. Dominic Verone was the chief of police in Suffolk County before Burke got in the picture, and he is the one who claimed that Shannan Gilbert drowned, and that's how she died. It was Verone who was in charge of all these things, and never once did we ever hear from the police department that Verone had any prior connection to Shannan Gilbert whatsoever, yet he did.
Amazing research and reporting by John Ray and Lena.
What do you guys think? Isn't that so crazy? Now, another escort believes that she met the Long Island serial killer and went on a date with him, and she got freaked out and left. I want you to see her interview also. So yeah, check this one out, and this is the last one, okay?
What did he say about the Gilgo Beach murders?
So he asked me if I thought Shannan Gilbert, that Jersey City girl, was connected. I said yeah, and he said yeah, I do too. And then another thing he said was, how do you think they get rid of the bodies without going noticed? And I said, I don't know. I've never been to the area ever. I don't know the access points. I don't know anything about it. And he said, well, it's very dark and desolate. And then he goes, you know, what if they treaded through the marsh? And I don't know if he meant in one of those big rubber suits walking through it with camouflage bags, or if he meant he took a small boat with no light, or what he meant by that. But that was one hypothetical. And the other he gave was, well, a cop could easily do it without anyone bothering him. Turn his lights on, park, put a cone up. No one's going to bother him.
So what happens after that part of the discussion? Did you think this is just a little too creepy? It's a little too descriptive. I'm out of here, or what happened?
So I tried to be polite. I actually stayed through the whole thing. And I remember him saying, it's up to 10 victims now, right? And I said, I think so. I wish I could describe it. Like, I wish there was a word for it. But he seemed like somebody who was reliving it and enjoying it, like almost like mentally orgasming. Like later on, he was going to get to reveal the truth to me that all along it was him. Like, he was building up to it at the dinner, and almost like it was a game for him. It was funny. Like, the way he talked about the victims was like, well, they were just escorts, they were just prostitutes, they were just whores. And then he'd be like, but don't worry, I don't think of you that way. I know you have aspirations and hopes and dreams. And, you know, I feel like he did that to all the victims, but, like, how dare you, you know? My biggest reason for coming on is people are like, oh, she wants 15 minutes of fame or this or that. And it's not that. It's these women are being dehumanized for a job that they did. And I want people to realize that you can end up in a really vulnerable situation where you have no other options but that. And that doesn't change that they had hopes and dreams and aspirations. Like I got the chance to become a mother. I got the chance to become a really talented hairstylist and makeup artist. I was given that chance because I survived. These women had that taken away from them because he thought that he had the right to do that.
So, yep, that's about it. Yeah, I'm gonna make a full serial killer video on Rex Heuermann, who is believed that he is, you know, the killer. Obviously, I just showed you the escort who went on a date with him. That's really creepy. Like, the things that he said to her, and for him to say, oh, I lost my nose ring. For him to say that he thinks that Shannan is part of the Long Island serial killer case, that makes me pause, because, like, I do believe that it was the driver and the pimp. I'm not 100% sure. I just kind of think that might be it. But if it's really Rex, because I did think for a while, like, before I saw the video of, you know, the lawyer talking about the escort service and them being under indictment and the pimp and the driver and all that, like, before I saw that video, which I just saw that yesterday and it blew my mind, my theory on Shannan was because there was one victim that Rex, like, she disappeared before Shannan. I think it was Melissa Bartholomew, I think. And I kind of think that in some cases Rex didn't kill them right away. He was more like of a torture killer kind of thing, which is horrible. Like, I can't even imagine what these poor girls had to go through. But, oh, somebody's making an appearance. There she is. But, I don't know, like, there she is. Are you making an appearance? You want to say hello to your fans? Come here, say hello to your fans. Come here, Nakey. She's Nakey. Come here, Nakey. What are you doing? Oh, so cute. It's your Nakey girl. Oh, I know. She's meowing now. So anyway, she got me so distracted I can't pay attention. I had this theory that maybe Rex was getting rid of Melissa's body out there on the same night that Shannan was running in the marsh, and like maybe she bumped into him and saw what he was doing and he took her out. Like, it was a theory I had because of what that escort said about how he talked about the murders, and he said that he believed that Shannan was one of the victims. Why would he say that if it wasn't true? You know, I think he was telling her because he was gonna get her to his house and be like, surprise, you know, and like do to her what he did to the others. I believe that's what he was planning, because you know how she said that I don't know if I put that in the video, but she did say that he wanted her originally to go just to his house, like, and she was like, no, I need to meet you in a public place, which thank God for her, like, gut feeling that he was up to something, because who knows, you know, like, she would have been another victim, in my opinion. And she's sure that it was Huerman, because now that he's been caught, she sees his picture all over the place, she knows it was him. So so freaky. And I do not believe that she was just looking for 5 minutes of fame. I really think that she's being honest. I think she's on some sort of drug, because she talks very slowly, like, you know, like she was high on something. But, I don't hold that against her, because there's a lot of people that are on, like, psych meds and, medication to overcome opiate addiction, and some of those medications cause you to sort of slow down, like Xanax and Klonopin and Seroquel, and then things like Suboxone and methadone and Subutex and all those drugs they have for people that are in opiate withdrawals. And then some people are on prescriptions for both, like something for opiate withdrawal and something for anxiety. So the combination of those two, forget it. I can't. I'm on the floor if that ever happened to me, because the combination is like really heavy duty. I've seen people just, you know, nodding out from it because it really messes you up. I don't know why doctors prescribe the two together, because it's not a good combination. But my point is, I'm sure that maybe she's, with the things that she's been on, it wouldn't surprise me if she was on some sort of anti-anxiety or, you know, antidepressant or something, you know, because there's a lot of shit she went through, and it's really scary, and I don't hold it against her one bit. But, yeah, so that's about it. I'm gonna put my, stuff on the bottom of the screen again. You know, I think I'm gonna try to get back into this. I've been, really just so, I have no motivation lately. I've been very blah. I need to get over this feeling and everything, and I'm trying, but it hasn't been easy. But I'm gonna try to get back into this, and hopefully someday I will get big enough to get better equipment and make better videos, because I right now have to do all this just with basic stuff. Like, I have this tablet that I use, and I can, you know, edit and stuff, but it's not the same as having like a good computer and, you know, the ability to have like some sort of great editing software. I have to use the stuff you get in the, like, Play Store, which is not so great, but it gets me by for now. But anyway, yeah, I would love to someday be able to make better quality videos. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. If you made it to the end, honestly, thank you. Leave me a comment if you want. Let me know what you think of the case. What do you think happened to Shannan? Because I am torn. But I'm leaning towards the driver thing. I don't know why Huerman would tell her that he thinks Shannon's part of it, maybe just to scare her more. I don't know. But I honestly think that it was like, because you saw the paper with her name on the indictment underneath Ruiz for the prostitution and cocaine and human trafficking and all that stuff. Like, they were under indictment for all of that. If the DA was to offer a deal to Shannan, you know, to testify against Ruiz so that she wouldn't have to do jail time, if it were me, I probably would do it. And I'm thinking maybe the pimp sort of thought she was going to do that. So, I'm sorry, I had a scratchy throat. It was really bad. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to be back, probably in a few days. I'm going to work on this big video about Herman himself. And I'll see you guys then. Bye.